We're going to take a look at the 40-foot high cube boxcar, also referred to as the Ugly Duckling or the Baby High Cube. Athearn actually used the Ugly Duckling verbiage in some of their early ads. Their model is introduced around 1970. Athearn, in original information on their model, refers to this as a Thrall prototype, so it would have been built by Thrall. However, I think actually, as you can actually see on the car, and this is a later blue box example, it says that it's a Union Pacific BF-50-4, which is correct. These were built by the Union Pacific, so these were home shop cars, and to my understanding and knowledge, this car's design is very much the Union Pacific home shop car and would be prototypical for them. However, it was applied to many other road names, as you know, over the years. Probably the next one to hit on the market, and this is a later Bachmann ready-to-roll example. It's not in production right now in Bachmann's current catalog, but early 1970s, Bachmann introduced this in HO scale. It's very similar, but not the same as the Athearn car. There are some differences to it. If you look at the ends and the roof detailing, that if you check them close, you will see some differences in the tooling of these cars. This is made by Bachmann. The original ones were made in Hong Kong and Taiwan for Bachmann. Rio Grande in Aspen Gold and Silver. Nope, sadly they didn't, but it's a very neat looking car just the same. But yeah, no Rio Grande high cubes ever actually rode the real rails. Very similar in design, and for a good reason. It was made by Cater. This was part of the Lionel HO line in the 1970s. Lionel returned to HO scale in 1974 and remained to 1977 was their last HO catalog with a full line of products. A number of things were made by Lionel in the US and Canada, but Lionel did about halfway through production move a lot of things to Cater in Taiwan, and that's where this one comes from. It's at the bottom says Lionel made in Taiwan, ROC. The Rock, not an owner of Baby High Cubes, but again, very cool paint scheme in the blue modern, or bankruptcy blue as it was called by many for Rock Island. This model again shares a lot of tooling, of course, design and look with the Bachmann model as it was made by Bachmann's parent company Cater for Lionel. Also in that same tooling got used again, this time AHM, and the bottom here AHM Taiwan, and so this car again was made by Cater for AHM, and these date to around, I think these are like late 70s. I don't see them in any of AHM's catalogs, but my guess is that this car dates to about 1978-79. AHM used some of the same paint schemes that Bachmann had. There's a red Burlington, but there are some unique examples that you can get only from AHM, one being this family line system car, that it was only available through the AHM line. They also did a really nice yellow chassis system with a blue chassis C cat, which was very neat. So again, not prototypical, but they're neat cars, and that was available from AHM if you're looking for shells of differences there. Also in the 1970s, Tyco made a version of the car. It again is similar to the Athearn, but it is different in the tooling. If you look at them close, it is a different shell. Early examples from Tyco, I believe, did not have the filled-in step. They did later end up improving, if you will. Remember, these were made for little kids, so broken steps was an issue. So Tyco filled in steps on a number of toolings in the 1970s, this being one of them. The big spotting feature on these, besides the filled-in steps, the notches here to hold the underframe in. Tyco offered this in Sioux, Illinois Central Gulf, and Union Pacific. Interestingly enough, and I see this listed sometimes as a production error, and it is, but it was on all the cars that I know of. Instead of ICG, Tyco credits the reporting marks here to the ICC, which of course would have been the Interstate Commerce Commission, and no, not the case. I assume that is just an error. Illinois Central did own Baby High Cubes. However, I'm not sure on Illinois Central Gulf. I think some are repainted, but I don't know how incredibly accurate the paint scheme is here. But closer than our Family Lines Rio Grande or Rock version is an IC or ICG, because yes, they did actually own some. A last look here at this design car. Here is its latest incarnation. It has been offered in Athearn's ready-to-roll line. And this again is the car that was called the Thrall, or it's the Union Pacific home shop car. The other Baby High Cube is, I believe, an SP only prototype. It's a B70-36 is its SP classification. SP Cotton Belt are the only road names that work for this car prototypically, if that's what you're after. This car was introduced by Athearn at the same time that they introduced their smooth side plug door. This was the rib side sliding door version of the car. It's been done in a number of road names by Athearn over the years, but again, I think SP Cotton Belt family is the prototype for this car only. And to my knowledge, no other versions, unlike the other car that you can get from everybody from AHM Bachmann, Lionel, HO, Tyco. This is the only time this has been available in plastic HO. And finally, we have the car that I think has the most prototypes, but to date has had the least amount of models made for it. But thanks to high-tech details, it is available now. This is an earlier run version of the car. This was done by Pullman Standard, and it's kind of a combination. Remember, the original Athearn is a smooth side plug door. Then the other version is a rib side sliding door. Actually, I think the most common version of the car is the one that was least produced years ago in HO plastic, and that is this car, the Pullman Standard prototype, which is smooth side sliding door. And this one you see in Burlington Route. It's a flat stock kit from High Tech Details. You can read, we've got a review of it in the March issue of Model Railroad News in Milwaukee and Rio Grande. As I mentioned, this is an earlier one from High Tech from some years back. This is the 40-foot Baby Hi-Cube boxcar kit in their line. Flat stock kit makes a wonderful example of a prototype that, despite all these others that existed for many years, this one I believe is the more common one, but it was the one that was least available to model railroaders until recently. So check out the March issue of Model Railroad News. The Baby Hi-Cubes you'll see displayed on the cover. The Milwaukee and Rio Grande examples are there. And now you know a little bit more about 40-foot Baby Hi-Cubes, an interesting car with an interesting history both in prototype railroading, where they served as an appliance carrier for many years, and then also in HO scale, where they were very prevalently available, despite the fact of how they may have been not so well seen on prototype railroads. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.